Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the demolition of the house on the 28th of December 2023. I wanted to show you something that I observed in Zana's room. The wall has red liquid, so I believe that is when Zana was fighting for life, defending herself. May she rest in peace. This is all evidence going down. If you look into Zana's room and her door, it looks like the door and the walls have something red on it, red liquid. I believe there was a struggle throughout those areas. Yeah, the walls look like they have red liquid on it. But it's all evidence. This is sad. So much solid evidence to be inside. And the jury may need to see this place to make a decision of the sound. What the roommates and the surviving roommates could have seen. What they could have heard. Why were they in such a hurry to take down this crime scene? It's a sad day for the families and for the victims. I don't understand why some YouTube creators are so busy with Steve Congalvis' family going on a holiday to Puerto Rico. I think we have to be mindful and have boundaries. That's none of our business. These families have been through hell and they're still going through hell. They don't need us YouTube creators being biased or judging them. We just want justice, but the families come before us. We have no right bringing Xana's mother into YouTube and promising her things and not keeping our promise. We have no right to be judging Steve 24/7. Steve is a parent who just lost his daughter. He doesn't need to be caught up in YouTube dramas. Whether we just stick to the case and just analyze what we see in front of us. I'd rather analyze the grub truck video and the Banfield video than putting my 2 bits into these 4 grieving families. Because as a mental health counselor, I know how difficult it is for them. So we have to be mindful of what we say, and especially what we say towards the victims' families. This is a sad scene. This is not how things are supposed to be happening. And somehow they want a 6 weeks trial. And the jury may want to see inside and outside 1122 Kings Road. What are they hiding? I don't believe it is tunnels and drugs and such things. I believe they are just hiding, trying to cover up the 3 male unidentified DNAs that were found inside this house that the defense attorney has been asking for. And Taylor, what happened to that? Besides the knife sheet that is such DNA, where's the 3 male DNAs? That is the reason I'm so focused on the grub truck and the Banfield video, because those are the closest movements to the previous timeline between 3 to 4 a.m. Where's the DoorDash driver? I hope these 4 victims rest in peace, and I hope the correct justice is served. It's not fair for the victims' families to be going through trash, going through nonsense, or people, the public, especially YouTubers, judging them, especially Steve. I don't understand. Why didn't you get off the guy's case? Let him live. is already grieving and suffering the loss of his beautiful daughter. We want justice, but we have to know our boundaries to get justice. So easy for us to put ourselves in someone else's business and judgment and opinion, when we actually can just imagine what it's like to be one of these four grieving victims' parents. You can never imagine that. And I don't believe in contacting YouTubers' families, contacting the victims' families and bringing them up on YouTube and promising them things. That's wrong. There has to be some kind of principle and ethical morals. This is a heartbreaking scene. It's not like the crime scene would have disturbed them if they covered it up and wrapped it up neatly. They could have had it till the jury got to see it. This is exactly what a Brady Giglo material is about. Not handing over evidence that could exonerate the person. If the trial starts in June, July 2024, how much is DM and BF going to say they remember of this incident? The longer this takes, the worse it is for the prosecution. They've destroyed the evidence in this case. The house, which in the beginning they said the house was the target, and they said the roommates could have been the target too. So the house was part of the issue for the prosecution. So they had to get rid of the issue. There was the house. They got rid of the first issue. There was the 3 unidentified male DNAs, allegedly. You heard what the prosecutor said, William Thompson. He said, how can we get the 3 unidentified male DNAs if the FBI's lab hasn't turned it over to us? We saw that clearly. Now, the house is gone. So all they have to do is just ping the phone device, which is now marked, which is on flight mode, so that still doesn't connect Brian Christopher Koberger in this scene. There was no blood trail of him found inside his car or of the victims, or his office or his house, for all that matters. So could someone have planted the knife sheet, or could somebody have got Brian Christopher Koberger's DNA to that house? There are too many people involved in this case. Everyone was ruled out too quickly. These 2 girls and John Showalter, Jack Showalter, hoodie guy, know each other from Boise, Idaho High School. Maddie's boyfriend Jake is from Boise, Idaho too. Dylan's boyfriend, Quinn Kelly, is from Idaho, Moscow too. All these people have some connection. Pay attention. How come these two girls were luckily not hurt, injured? If they were not injured, are they saying it was psychological trauma? They were so frozen that it took them 8 hours to call the Sigma Chi boys first, the hunters. The neighbors came inside the crime scene. People went upstairs and saw the girls unlived. So there's a lot of forensic material, evidence that was already being tampered with. The police officer that came first to the scene said that the place reeked of blood. It smelt of blood. These two young women were texting each other. They couldn't have been texting each other about what they were going to wear next day or who they were dating. They were texting each other because there was a lot of noises going upstairs. DM is not telling us obviously exactly what she heard and what she saw. Don't forget, she opened the door and she told the girls to keep it down, that she's trying to sleep. She thought that there was a party upstairs. What was exactly going on in the house and in their brains? Was this some crime organization that did this? Were they under some kind of threats that they were not allowed to speak? Were they informers? Were they the ones that were keeping Murphy quiet? Did they open the door for any of the Jacks? Or Jake? Or Quinn Kelly, who was seen that night there? Why was Dylan's black truck driving in Banfield when the undercover police were there at 3:01? Was that the headlights we were seeing in front of the house? Why was the front door left open? Who left it open? What kind of exculpatory evidence does Bethany Funk have? She's the one who can solve this case. Brian Christopher Kohlberg and Ann Taylor and the team believe that she can exculpate. Her exculpatory evidence can exonerate Brian Christopher Kohlberg. Why? I know it's a tactic that they're using in law and the defense attorney would be using to break her down or to wait for her to say something wrong. But I think it's more than that, because let's not forget, Bethany Funk was at the Sigma Chi fraternity party. So she knows exactly what happened to Xana, her roommate, and Xana's boyfriend. She knows exactly what took place. She knows exactly what time they came home. Xana's father said he called Xana at midnight. He said that in his interview. And Xana's going to be at home. She's just going to chill back. How come nobody saw Xana and Ethan's pictures on social media or anywhere for all that it matters? What was going on exactly? Dylan's father said that she was in a frozen shock, that she's healing, she's doing some kind of spiritual and emotional therapy, I believe. But the next thing we know, she's partying. I'm not saying we have the right to judge her. Life goes on, obviously. But you can't be saying one thing and doing the opposite. Her father said that she saw someone in a ski mask. But that's not what was written in the affidavit. It was written someone with a medical mask. Half mask. Why doesn't BF want to give her testimony? Why did she ask for it to be given in Nevada, where she lives, in her state? Why is it on her terms? Wasn't these two young women sleeping on the first floor at the beginning? The quadruples happened between 3 to 4 a.m. When did it all change? Is it when they found the white Hyundai that doesn't even match the model they were searching for? 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai. But Brian Christopher Koberger drives a 2015, if I'm not mistaken. There is no connections between Brian Christopher Koberger and the 4 victims. We don't know about the surviving roommates though. If there's no connection, there can't be a motive. And if there's no motive, it doesn't make sense. Although motive is not the most important thing. You don't have to prove your motive. But juries like to hear the motive. I can count other people who had more motive than Brian Christopher Koberger. Like Jack Showalter, who's good in hunting, who's a wrestler. Jack Showalter loves hunting, he's a wrestler. He was upset with the girls that they left him. Where Brian Christopher Koberger was driving around the areas. We have Jack D, who was the last person the girls called before we heard a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." Jack D loved carrying a K-bar knife in his hunting activities. He knows how to use it. He was kicked out for sexual harassment from his fraternity. He lived 1 minute away from the girls. He was one of the last people to see the girls alive. Let's not forget that. And he was upset. We heard Maddie saying "F you, mister," to him. He didn't order any food. His pocket looked like he was carrying something. And allegedly that night he was kicked out of the corner club for harassing either Maddie and Kaylee or 2 other girls. Many witnesses have said that. Apparently he was blaming Eaton for getting him kicked out of his fraternity. So that's a motive. And we know Xana is Eaton, his girlfriend. So he has motives too. He was upset with Maddie and Kaylee, and he lives right next to them. He drove to his parents' cabin, 6 hours away, almost 6 hours away. What if he was working with BK? Why does Jack Showalter have on white gloves? What is Jovita watching? What is the girl watching? Maddie seems to be upset with Hoodie Guy and Jovito. She's pointing her finger towards them. I wonder who Kaylee was busy talking to or texting all night. Was somebody setting her up? This looks like a setup, the way they all moved down behind Hoodie Guy and Jovito, the whole group. The guy with the white Lakers, or Chicago Bulls, I think it is, seems to be really focused on the girls too. A lot of plotting was going on in the grub truck and the band field. I'll always believe that because that's what I see. The timelines were changed then. Not before then, but after then. 47 days down the line after Brian Christopher Koberg was arrested. That's when the affidavit came out, when he was brought back to Idaho, Moscow. It was like this was all a camera of civilians. Everyone had something to do. Everyone had some kind of act to do there that night. Wow. Rest in peace to the 4 beautiful victims, and may justice be correctly served. Please like, share, and subscribe.